On this episode of the Innovative Schools podcast, we sit down with Kim Johancen to define teacher burnout and how to respond and prevent it. Come on, let's learn together. Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of the Innovative Schools podcast. Jordan here with
Will.
We're trying to have some fun today, but having fun while still talking about something we think is pretty serious, something that we want to help educators with, which is burnout. That's one of the things that we're going to talk about today. But before we get to that, Will, our question right now to open this podcast is, what's a moment in your life when you realized stress was taking a toll?
Ooh.
Okay, do you need me to talk first and then you can think?
No, I think I got one. So before I worked here at AccuTrain, I used to work at Chick-fil-A. And I think that there was a part of me that took on too much. And I know that it can seem like it's, a fast food job and it's not crazy, but it can get crazy, especially with any job where you're dealing with multiple people and multiple coworkers all the time. And I think there was a part that I took on a sense of perfection or seeking that perfection, and just putting, chicken sandwiches in bags. And I think that I took any sort of shortcoming or slowness or failure, anything that went on, as a personal dig at myself, and I would become really stressed over it and really worried about it. And sometimes I would spend the rest of the day just trying to make up for it, which then having the issue happen would drain me, and then trying to make up for it would drain myself even more. And the next day I wasn't fully rested, and the cycle would repeat. So I think sometimes multiple times a week back when I worked at Chick-fil-A is a good example of when I kind of let stress take that toll on me and kind of bring me down.
I am very bad at recognizing stress building in my life.
Really?
And it takes physical changes for me to start to notice things like headaches, or I remember one time sitting at work and just all of a sudden, just like heart racing, sweaty, thinking 1,800 miles an hour. I had to get up from my desk and go outside. Yeah. I was like, I just need to go and walk. And I still don't know exactly what triggered that moment in me, but I knew that those physical changes of what was happening, because it lingered for days of just it kind of sitting there. And then I started to get the stress and anxiety of having stress and anxiety. Yeah. Which just made it even worse.
That wonderful cycle.
Yeah, it piled on and on and on. So mine is more of that physical feeling of different things that start to key me in, that I'm starting to, stress is taking its toll. And I think one of the important things about, or understanding about stress, is that everyone kind of experiences it differently. Yeah. But I'm not the expert in that. We have Kim Johancen here, who is a bit of an expert on stress and several things. And we're going to get into a little bit of your background. But first, we want to ask you that question. What's a moment in your life when you realized stress was starting to take its toll?
Well, one of the first things that pops out for me would be grad school.
Yeah.
That, just too much all at once. But I also, as you guys are talking, thinking about, when I first started my own practice, I work with suicidal kids. And you can only have so many crisis clients on your caseload and still feel effective, right? And I got wonky. My caseload absolutely got wonky. And I had, I couldn't turn it off anymore. I would leave work and I couldn't transition, where I was just leaving work at work. Rumination. So just ruminating constantly on, did I do the right thing? What should I do? How's that person going to be tonight? Where then my health really started to get affected.
I can't even imagine going through that, honestly. I can't even, especially more than one. I've had some difficult situations with, certain people in my life before, but I can't imagine there being two possible names in front of me, and let alone maybe more than that. I can't even imagine.
Yeah. Well, and I think the lesson for me, I actually had a mentor, really, like, just kind of, hey, we should really look at your caseload. And, he was absolutely seeing the signs before I was really connecting to it being stress related. And, that was a moment that was hard, but it was also a moment where I had to take stock, like, how am I going to sustain a career doing this? And that I didn't have to do it by myself, right? Like, I am really diligent about making sure I have people around me that I can go to for support, that can help me make sure that I'm making decisions professionally that are sound, because I think we can get a little foggy sometimes under stress, most certainly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We're going to keep talking about that burnout and stress stuff, but let's back up for a second. So you are a therapist, counselor. Is that the same?
Either or.
Okay.
Yes, a therapist.
I don't really know.
Yeah.
You've been a therapist for how long?
Over 30 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So over 30 years. And you were a counselor in a school.
Yeah, for like half my career, I was in
Yeah.
schools. I was actually in a middle school and a high school. And then I was in a college setting. So I was in a counseling center at Fort Lewis College in Durango.
And like as a therapist, not as like a guidance counselor.
Correct.
Sorry, I hear counselor in school and that's where my brain goes first, but you were actually working with students. I'm talking like I know, but that needed some type of mental health help.
Yeah, so I have a unique background there in regards to how I got into schools. I was employed by Human Services in La Plata County, which is southwest Colorado.
Okay.
And we had a lot of kids in crisis. It was a rural community, and anytime kids needed to be hospitalized, they just needed to be kept safe, they would have to leave Durango. Oftentimes, they were flown to the Front Range in helicopters or transported by police. And because the police were doing the transports, these kids had to be handcuffed. So these are kids with significant mental health issues that were being taken away from their supports, and in such a manner as if there was something they did wrong for having some challenges. So the community rallied, and Human Services, my employer, along with San Juan Board of Cooperative Education, so special ed, the local mental health center at that time was Southwest Mental Health, and then the school district all came together and they pooled resources and created, it was really a day treatment model that the state was mandating that we had anyway in our county. So they decided all these agencies decided to put these programs in the schools so that they could have mental health on site. So I was able to, even though I wasn't employed by the school, I worked in the school. So I worked with kids, staff, and families, and we had an incredibly unique program to help families get resources, to help kids deal with challenges. They could receive therapy, they could receive tutoring. It was pretty amazing, actually.
It sounds like it, honestly. Yeah.
That's really cool. So you have the counseling background, you have some education background, and so that's why we thought it would be great to bring you in to talk about this teacher burnout, right?
Yeah.
I feel like you hear this word and it's like echoing in the chambers of like teacher burnout, go, like of this big, but it's a real, like, I mean, it's a serious thing.
It is, and I talk to a lot of educators. I'm married to an educator, and I like to think it's really not even a matter of if you're going to, experience burnout. It's really a matter of when. Because things get out of balance, constantly. So it's being armed with the tools. It's knowing that burnout does happen so that we can catch it quickly before it becomes something much harder to treat.
What are some of those things that you've identified as things that stick out as those first signs of teacher burnout?
I mean, you guys were talking about some of them. Sometimes it's trying to feel like I've got to be perfect at what I'm doing. So because I can't be perfect, I'm going to keep failing, and that leads to exhaustion. Certainly physical symptoms like, stomach aches or any kind of GI or stomach issues, sleep issues for sure, colds. Like I think a lot of teachers that I know personally will talk about They just start to get sick when they're coming up on their breaks.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Like this, their bodies know we're almost there. So people's bodies can finally take a breath, and as a result, a lot of people get sick. So those are some of the telltale signs. Other than that, I would say irritability or any kind of emotional, like where emotions just feel too big, overwhelming, changes in how we deal with emotions. Things can seem bigger than they typically are. I don't have as much of a bandwidth. And then the flip side, because everybody's different, would be maybe apathy, like a loss of feeling like I care about anything.
Yeah.
You know, like I just don't care that much. I just don't feel like I care anymore. It's numbing. Those are some of the other signs that can indicate that we're in trouble.
Where do you think a lot of that burnout, that stress in the school environment, like comes from for educators?
I definitely don't think just one place. That's
Yeah,
for sure. Today, because I talk to so many educators, today I think it's a nervous system condition that is created through chronic stress, and I can certainly talk more about that. And I think it's also having to take on so many roles that teachers have to switch hats so many times throughout the day because they're being asked to do more, which really leads to exhaustion cognitively, to just constantly have to switch compartments and roles. And just feeling like they're not getting done what they should be getting done. I think that takes a big toll as well. Like I don't ever feel like I'm, doing what I need to do for these kids. And I do think teachers see that kids are needing more than what their systems are able to provide. And to watch kids go through struggle, go through challenge, not just kids, families too, and not be able to help at the level that we want to help, that absolutely causes a lot of stress.
Yeah. I want to drill into, I think you said this a little bit, of burnout and things. It's a stress response. Like the things that we've been talking about, it's not a personal flaw necessarily. But like what I was describing happened to me, or what, Will, you were saying about yourself, is not a flaw in who we are, but it's a response to the stressors.
Yeah. And, that's why I'm really passionate about many things, but self-compassion is, I think, is bigger than all of it. Like compassion is such a healer. And what I love talking about to educators or people in caring fields about this, like we're good at compassion. We're good about caring for other people, right? In our own families. We certainly are good at that. Not always so great about extending that same branch to ourselves.
Yeah.
But
We're
it's
a lot
there.
harder on ourselves.
Yes. And why do we treat other people in a way that we don't allow ourselves to be treated? And I totally forgot the question. What did you ask
I'm
me?
sorry. I tried to just add some banter and I derailed. We were just talking about how the burnout, and it's a stress response. Like it's a response. It's not a flaw.
Right. So the self-compassion lens leads to an understanding that we're all human. And to be able to embrace our own humanity, first of all, connects us. Like we're all connected because we're all human. And that also allows us to let go of some perfectionism. It's hard to let go of that for some people, most certainly. But if I embrace that I'm human, then I can embrace that I don't have to be perfect. And through stress, we know what happens to the brain. We know what happens to the nervous system. We go offline because that's a natural human response in the face of stress that never lets up. We're not supposed to have stress that goes on and on and on and on and on.
The bear chases us for a little bit, but eventually it stops.
Yes.
But sometimes it feels like there's just always a bear.
Yeah. And our brain doesn't know, our brainstem, in the limbic center of the brain, the midbrain as well, it doesn't know that it can't tell the difference between being chased by a bear and unrealistic demands at my place of work.
Yeah.
Or being exposed to, another nervous system or brain that's in crisis. Our brain doesn't necessarily differentiate. between perceived threat and actual threat.
Sure.
So therefore, our system just goes offline. We're in survival mode. And over time, that's not sustainable. So we start to break down. That's a human response to chronic stress.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that it couldn't tell the difference between those two things. Answers a lot of questions, I guess.
Yeah.
I want to kind of define or like look at that perceived threat. When I hear you say perceived threat, sometimes, or I guess my initial response is, so you're telling me that there's not actually something to be worried about, and makes like that's my first thought. I'm not sure if that's what you mean by that, but
No, through a lens of self-compassion, we actually can teach people that you're human, but not dismiss their experience. Your experience is still valid. It's just giving it a context that separates you from your experience, that there's nothing wrong with you. This is your brain on stress. Like trauma, for example. Trauma is a brain injury. So trauma impact leads to me doing things that don't feel like I should be doing these things. So what's wrong with me? Why can't I get my act together? So I appreciate the way you said that, though, Jordan, so that I can make sure to tell you that's not what I meant, that your experience counts, it's valid.
yeah.
Through the lens of neurobiology, biology, we can just let you know, yes, this is your experience and there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
This is just the impact.
It sounds similar to something someone told me once, which was people's feelings are real, but the reason for those feelings may not be. Does that kind of fit in that?
Yeah,
That kind
and
of vein?
and nobody gets to tell us how to feel, not even ourselves.
Yeah.
So our feelings are valid. We also want to do something with them that feels productive. Because if I'm living in my amygdala, which is the emotional center of the brain, if I'm living there, then my emotions may be driving the show, driving the car. I may be driven by emotions. I'm not making decisions from a place of groundedness, balance. I'm making decisions because my brain is telling me I'm on fire.
Yeah.
So emotions serve a purpose, most certainly. And I actually talk about that because we need to be talking to kids about that as well. We're supposed to have emotions. We can't avoid them, otherwise we can get overwhelmed by them. It's like damming the river.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just how do we acknowledge our emotions as valid and do something with them so we're not being driven by them. Yeah, in fact, interesting, we're talking about this. I one of my favorite definitions of emotional intelligence is where we can experience emotion and acknowledge our emotions but not be overwhelmed by them. They can be uncomfortable, but I'm still in the driver's seat,
Yeah.
not my emotions. So I can still stay standing through that discomfort. That's a really, in my book, that's a very good definition of emotional intelligence. And we all get knocked out of our window of tolerance. That's human.
I just love all the things that we've been talking about and kind of defining of like this teacher burnout and the signs and just bringing some light into the way human brains are. And just, I think it's really encouraging. I hold on to that. Like, hey, there's not a personality flaw. It's just a response.
So why is that anchoring for you, Jordan? Like, what is it about that?
She's also going to charge you $80.
$80?
More than that. No.
Bump that up. No, just kidding.
No, I just, I guess from where I am, like, I think specifically about me and my wife, like, we both want to do things to the highest possible standard that we can. And so when that stress comes over us and we feel like we just can't anymore, the first thought is we're failing our mission of doing the best that we can. And that just adds on to it. But really, it's our bodies saying, no, you've been doing great. We just can't sustain this. Like, you need rest. You need to take a step back. It's just a response. It's not something that we've done wrong necessarily, outside of not take care of ourselves, I suppose, or slow down earlier. But that's why I think it's important to me.
Well, and I like that too, just to piggyback on that, because it also, with that kind of awareness, I think we also can remind ourselves that this is not the way things are all the time. This is a result of stress. This is a result of burnout. I haven't had a break. I haven't been able to rest. So this isn't the way it's always going to be. Okay, I know what this is. I know that I don't always feel this way. What do I need to do to move through it? You know, it's not this permanent idea that this is I'm a failure. I'm always going to feel this kind of overwhelm or underwhelm. I can do something about it.
Yeah, that's great. Well, we're going to just pause this conversation right here for a minute. We're going to come back to it, but we're going to take just a short break. When we get back, we're going to talk a little bit more about how we've kind of defined the problem, but I don't want to leave it with just defining the problem, but providing some solutions. So we'll get to those when we get back. So hang out for a minute, and we'll see you after the break. Hey, Innovative Schools podcast listeners, this is Jordan. I wanted to tell you guys about the Innovative Schools Summit. It's something we're very closely related to, as you can tell by the name. It's how we get access to all these experts to be able to record these podcasts and things. But what the summit is, it's about a week long where we get a whole bunch of experts in the field of education together in one place to teach you guys, to teach you all types of things, to teach you things like innovative teaching strategies or discipline, classroom management, and then even into things like how to handle bullying and things like that. It's just a wonderful time to come together with a couple thousand other educators and these experts and learn from them. There's all types of people that we have present at these, many of whom have been on this podcast. People like Michael Bonner, Steve Spangler, Gary Brooks. The list goes on. Pretty much everyone on the podcast has been at a summit at some point in time. So if you like this content that's on the podcast, you will love what happens at the summit, being able to learn directly from them. We have about 5 a year all over the country in 2026. We have New York, Orlando, Las Vegas, Nashville, and San Antonio. And it's sprinkled throughout the year, so hopefully there's one that has dates that fit with you. For details for that, check out the link in the show notes or the description, and we hope to see you there. If you are there, try and find us. We'd love to say hi and talk to you and get your ideas for the podcast. So hopefully, we'll see you there.
Learn from the best in education on AccuEd.com. AccuEd.com is our subscription-based service that we offer for educators just like you. We have over 40 masterclass-style courses that give you more than 80 hours of training. These courses cover a multitude of subjects like leadership in your school, to climate and culture, to even just classroom management, and so much more. And this training is from the real experts like Bruda Kefele, Michelle Borba, John Almarode, and even Michael Bonner. We release a new course every month, and you'll be able to start applying these strategies as soon as your next day in the classroom. Go to AccuEd.com to get started. If you use promo code PODCAST at checkout, you get 10% off your first 6 months. Visit AccuEd.com and start learning from the pros today.
Hey everybody, welcome back to this episode of the Innovative Schools podcast. We have Will and Kim Johancen with us. We're talking about teacher burnout. We just spent a lot of time kind of defining, just kind of sharing stories of times where we felt kind of stressed and like your experiences over all of your years and stuff like that. I don't want to leave our audience with just the definition of burnout or here are some of the signs. I want us to talk about things that educators, people can do. And first, I want to start with the area of kind of a response. Maybe there's someone who's been listening and they're like, maybe I am a bit over the edge. Maybe I am really, I've taken on a lot of stress. I didn't think that this is, I don't know, tension in my neck or the gastro stuff has been stress related, but now that I'm thinking about it, maybe this is kind of what's happening. So let's just get into some responses, some practical, some things that teachers, educators, people can do to help alleviate some of that burnout.
Yeah, and I like that. And I also think we have started talking about it, right? Like as we're talking about our own personal struggles, like catching the signs. If I'm not feeling well and that's continuing, my body's breaking down, like, oh, okay. So early intervention is great, but we can catch it wherever we catch it. Like the best time to start taking care of ourselves is when we realize we have to start taking care of ourselves, right? And I think too, doing some simple things can make a huge difference. And when I talk to people about burnout, it's almost as if there's this association that it's insurmountable or that it can't be fixed, it can't be corrected. I have to leave my
I
field.
just have to deal with the burnout. It's going to be here. Like,
Yeah, like maybe I'll just laugh about it and
Yeah.
like whatever. It's, and burnout is not a bad thing. I mean, quite honestly, once we recognize that we're struggling, that's the first step, right? It's just to acknowledge, I think I need something. I'm out of balance. That starts the process. That's actually probably one of the biggest steps because without intention, we can't really change anything.
Yeah.
And burnout is a nudge to get back into balance. And however it happens, however we catch it, it's literally our own natural systems, biology, neurobiology, telling us this isn't working. This isn't sustainable. It's not supposed to feel good when you're out of balance.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be the nudge to do it differently. So first of all, I want to challenge that it's a bad thing or that we can't talk about it or that it means I'm a failure or whatever, some of the things we already talked about. So the other thing that I find interesting is that, this feels so heavy, so it must take a lot for me to change this. It's going to take a lot for me to overcome this, which is why a lot of people do leave their professions. In actuality, it can be small, little 2-minute, 1-minute strategies. It's dosing regulation. It's not the big, I'm going to take care of myself at the end of the day. It's we need to be dosing ourselves all day long. And teachers, with the stress that they're under, I think even more so, we have to be thinking about how teachers can take care of themselves, not just in between classes even, like during a class period. Those small micro doses can make a huge difference and communicate safety to my brain and nervous system.
What would some of those kind of doses look like in practicality?
Like just taking a breath.
Yeah.
Like quite honestly, just
Like a conscious
breathing.
breath.
Yes, a conscious breath.
Conscious breath.
Like really filling up my lungs, breathing in through my nostrils, feeling the air leaving my body. That signals to the brain that I'm safe. Because when we're not safe, it's go time. I'm breathing shallow, possibly. I'm tensed. I'm ready to run. So anything that signals to the brain that we're actually safe can make a huge difference in keeping us regulated, keeping us in our higher functioning brain so that we can stay grounded and keep going. So breath is one, quite honestly, and I tell kids this all the time, even drinking water. Like the act of drinking water is an act of self-care, but it also forces you to breathe. So that's a good one. Essential oils. I love essential oils. I like having skills, things that we can do, and then tools that we can use. So having essential oils on the desk or in the desk drawer of calming scents that I associate with calm, that might be different than what you associate with calm. Because our sense of smell is the fastest way to the amygdala, the threat center of the brain. So just a couple dots right here of lavender, eucalyptus, whatever it is that you like, can make a big difference too.
I'm learning so much. I didn't know that. Just watch the amygdala. I didn't know that.
Yeah, like little things.
Well, I was just thinking, I don't know, it made me think of, we're talking about teacher burnout, but students have stress too. Like, do you see a pathway for some of these micro things, taking a breath, if an educator is kind of orchestrating some breathing through the whole class?
Absolutely. I think if we can model how to use these techniques with our students, with our kids, with the people around us, it can make a huge difference. So even looking around at a classroom, I love, teachers with how they have their classrooms just decorated, and there's so many things you can see on the walls, bright colors, affirmations. Looking around at my environment actually signals safety to the brain. So I can stay regulated because, again, if I'm under threat, I'm looking for the nearest exit. So my vision actually becomes more narrow. So how many things can I name that are the color blue? Or what are 5 things I hear, 4 things I see, 3 things I smell? orienting to our environment opens the brain back up so I can stay in my window of tolerance.
It's interesting. It sounds like there's a certain amount of focus, or maybe it's diverted focus. I don't know. Like you're saying, like focusing on how many things can I name that are blue. Seems like it takes a lot of energy to like focus, but then it eventually opens you up to just safer or whatever.
Yeah, I think you're dipping into mindfulness.
Okay.
So, and I know a lot of schools, I love how many schools are bringing mindfulness practices into the classrooms and into their team environment. Mindfulness anchors me to this moment. And mindfulness isn't about a practice where you just clear your mind. Like mindfulness is about doing things mindfully. So anything I'm doing, I'm devoting my attention to. So if I'm anchoring to this room, to how it feels to be sitting in this chair, to being with you, to looking around at my environment, to be fully present, that's mindfulness. So we can do that in our classrooms. We can do that walking. I like that everybody loves walking their dogs. That's good. Dogs should be walked.
Sure.
Yeah.
I will say I recommend sometimes for folks just to leave their dogs at home and just go on a walk and feel the sun on your shoulders, or notice the trees, like listen to the bird songs.
Yeah, not listening to a
no.
not
Or
listening
on
to
your
this
phone.
podcast, or
Right. Well,
I
maybe
mean,
this
listen,
one.
but don't.
Maybe
but
this podcast.
Maybe
but-
this one. No. But I mean, you're
Yeah.
right. Like I like to run. That's one of the things that I do. Sometimes, and typically I listen to music, but sometimes I'm like, I need to just hear the wind in the trees. Just focus on the sound of my shoes hitting the pavement, or the way the air feels on my skin, and those types of things. That mindfulness thing. So going on a walk, but not distracting yourself by consuming something, but being aware is what you're kind of saying. Yeah.
And with all the noise, technology, like there's so much noise, and particularly probably now more than ever, right?
Yeah.
There's so much noise. And to have a mindful moment that I can just be focused on being present is incredibly corrective. And if you really practice mindfulness, a lot of people will talk about also experiencing deeper gratitude. Because I'm grateful for this moment. I'm not worried about the past. I'm not sitting here worried about the future. I'm fully here. I'm connected. Burnout is about disconnection. Connection goes out the window because we're not connected to ourselves. I can't really be connected to other people. So to be able to be really here allows me to start appreciating the small things that maybe I would have missed.
Yeah.
So people will oftentimes talk about deeper gratitude when they're able to practice doing things mindfully.
So we have some kind of, you called it micro doses of breath, drinking water, a little bit. I don't know what you'd classify this as, but some mindfulness. We talked walks a little bit, but what are some of those other things that maybe are bigger than micro? I don't know what you would call them. I just want to call them macro doses, but I don't know if that's right.
We can talk macro doses.
Like you have these little things to help throughout the
Yeah.
whole day, but I'm assuming there's bigger things too to do.
Yeah, I mean, the small things definitely add up, right? But beyond that movement, you talk about being a runner, movement helps move chronic stress, cortisol out of the body. And it doesn't have to be running. It doesn't have to be major movement. It can be dance. It can be taking a gentle walk. It can be just gentle stretching, like yoga, for example. And I know a lot of teachers are talking about doing more yoga with their students. And there's many benefits to yoga, and certainly to combat burnout. I appreciate how yoga is coming into the schools more and more as well. So any kind of movement, and it can also be anything that's repetitive or rhythmic. So this could be drumming, this could be knitting, anything I'm doing with my hands, vibrating the vocal cords, so singing, humming. So I mean, a lot of people know people that are just walking around, they're humming all the time. That resets the nervous system. because it helps calm the brainstem. It helps me stay regulated. Laughter is one of my favorites. So, but I'm talking like deep belly laughter, the kind where your stomach hurts.
Hurt your stomach, your cheeks.
Yes.
You're just, the next day you're sore.
Yes, exactly. Like that's the best. That's the best, right?
Yeah.
So laughter is another one that can help reset the vagus nerve. Yeah, so there's a lot of different things that we can be doing. Beyond that, I talk a lot about values now when it comes to burnout, which I don't know if we always think about in relation to burnout, but being in touch with our highest values, making sure we're doing things daily in line with our highest values, that actually pulls us out of the emotional center of the brain because it's exciting. It feels good to do things that I'm excited about. Nobody has to motivate me to do things that are in line with my highest values. So being intentional about making sure our behavior lines up with whatever those values are is also really important.
You're talking about like singing, drumming, and things like that. I found very recently, I love listening to podcasts. I mean, we do the podcast, so I feel like I listen to podcasts, and not bad podcasts, but I kind of let listening to music fall away, and I was driving to work or whatever. I was always listening to something, some type of podcast. Whether that was about, my favorite sports team or just some two guys just talking about life, which I enjoy or whatever, things like that. But I forgot how much just listening to music, like in the car, singing as loud as I can or whatever, changed my whole kind of attitude for the day. Not that the podcasts were bad, and I think that's the point I want to make here, is that there's things that I would say that they're not bad things, like they're good things, but doing those little, listening to music, singing, drumming, that repetitive movement, I noticed in myself how changing and saying, okay, I'm going to listen to music on the way to work today, not whatever podcast, started to change my, not outlook, that sounds a little dramatic, but just it changed my whole attitude, I guess is the way to put that.
Well, and I think you're also dipping into being aware of how different things we're doing affects how we feel. So paying attention to the little things, to the micro or the macro things that we're doing, noticing how it makes me feel, like you talk about running. That's a sign we're on the right track. So being intentional about catching how we feel before and after we try some different things or do different things, even organically, like just busting out a song.
Because everyone's different.
Yeah.
I want to make that point. I'm sure everyone knows that, but I think it's a good reminder is that any of the things that you're saying now, I enjoy running. Do you like running, Will?
No.
Yeah, it's not going to help him that much.
Don't even hesitate. Nope. Nope, I do not.
And that's okay.
I love a good stroll, though.
Sure. A walk. Yeah, you do like to stroll. That's
I
true.
love a good stroll.
But we're all different. Like we all had different stories coming in of those stressful moments and all of the little things that each one of us do to help alleviate in that stress. It's all going to be different. But I don't want to put words in your mouth, but is it okay to recommend to try until you find the thing that helps?
Yeah, and it also means opening up conversations with other people about burnout. So talking about what do you do to take care of yourself? What do you find that works for you? Because chances are, if it works for somebody else, it might work for you. But being able to collect ideas, and I love a good group think, so being able to pool ideas on teams, in schools, at home with our families or our friends, we can come up with a pretty big toolbox that way. So yes, absolutely, giving ourselves permission to try new things. And one of the caveats here of what we're talking about would also be expect discomfort if you haven't tried these things.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people will say, well, I tried it a couple times and it didn't work. Well, first of all, it's going to take a minute to create a new habit. We're talking about a self-care habit, including a self-compassion habit, which I think self-compassion is even bigger than self-care. So yes, try new things, but don't overwhelm yourself. Sure. Just try maybe one or two things today. See how it goes. Maybe try one or two things tomorrow. You know, think about dosing. How will I dose myself a couple times today with some regulation? You know, it's setting up goals that are going to help us be successful. And that 1%, like those micro changes as I'm creating new habits, it adds up. It matters. Over time, it can make a big difference.
Yeah. And we've kind of covered this, but I just want to kind of draw a line in the sand of saying we started this part of the podcast talking about kind of responsive things, but to talk about preventative things, which are many of the things we talked about. Is that the same things on both sides?
Yeah, I would say that a lot of things we're talking about are also preventative, but we can take it a step further because you're also talking about resiliency. So resiliency is huge. Like we know that, for example, vicarious trauma can happen. We also know vicarious resilience can happen. So folks who are regulated, you know, we know mirror neurons are huge, but we also now know mirror nervous systems are huge. So if everybody's taking care of themselves in a classroom or in a school, the adults are practicing self-care ongoing, that's going to have a ripple effect because other nervous systems are going to be impacted by mine, not always the other way around. A lot of teachers are around a lot of dysregulated offline nervous systems all day long. So we always start with us. So resiliency, you know, how do we create resiliency? We accept that stress is a part of resilience because resilience happens through stress. So it's not resilience and then stress, like eustress, which is the good stress, not distress, eustress.
Eustress?
Eustress, EU stress.
Okay.
So eustress is stress that actually helps clean the brain. It helps with focus. It helps me widen vagal tone.
Is that like is that like short-term stress of like deadlines and things? Is that what you're talking about?
It can be.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
it can be.
I'm just
It's-
trying to put it into perspective
Yeah.
of what.
It's anything that's challenging but not overwhelming.
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
So we want to challenge students, right? So that they don't end up feeling apathetic, like they don't care, for example. Like we want challenges that excite us and that help us grow as human beings.
Is it similar to this image just came to my head of like putting just a little more weight on the bar to build your muscle,
That's
but
a good
not so
metaphor.
much to where you can't.
Where you're screaming for help?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's that.
Okay. So those little things, because I always heard that growing up. You know, stress can help you achieve goals, and I feel like that. I don't know. I feel like that's not said as much anymore with all the conversation around stress and stuff. But if I'm hearing you correctly, this eustress is kind of that little bit of stress that kind of motivates or pushes and helps you grow resilience and stuff like that, right? Like
Yeah, we actually need it.
Okay.
And it just occurs to me as you're talking, you know, we talk a lot about how there's more stress now than in past generations, and certainly there's a lot of global trauma happening. And I think it's a little more complicated than that because if we're not teaching kids, new generations on how to have healthy stress, then we're going to have generations of kids who don't think they can handle stress. So we're talking about, there's so much more stress. There's also a much bigger inability to
like
deal
a
with stress.
deficiency in being able to.
So things
stress.
that might, you know, at one point in time, sure, would have been a little stressful, but I would have gotten over it. Now may be overwhelming.
You said it's eustress?
Eustress.
Eustress. Okay. It kind of reminded me when we started talking, before we started recording, you were asking me what my job is here at AccuTrain, and I was saying that in my description at the bottom it says whatever Jordan asked me to do, but there's
He literally said that, by the way. He did say that.
I know he said that.
There was multiple steps to it, and I was saying that, I think it's good for me because it can help build my own mental resilience, and I'm learning all these different skills and different things because I'm facilitating and teaching and learning and designing of all these different things. So
Yeah, you don't get bored. That's for sure.
I don't
Will.
get bored. That's true. There's
Jordan has you
always-
doing a ton.
A lot of things.
There's
a lot
always
of things.
something. No, just kidding.
I have one last question here, which I really like. Good job writing the questions. Which is just so. This one is for people and educators that are already on the path kind of recovery, is that the right phrasing
Yeah.
to say? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. First, wanted to establish that. What are signs that like healing or progress is taking place? I feel like ending on this kind of like encouragement of, hey, if you're seeing these things, like you're doing a good job, keep going.
Yeah, I love that. The first thing that pops up for me is boundaries. So when people are able to say no more,
Yeah.
they're being more thoughtful about their yeses. And for educators, that's hard to do because they're being asked to do more and more and more. So to be able to find those places and to have schools support boundaries, an easy way that a school system can help a educator have boundaries or respect their boundaries is to not expect people to email after hours or on weekends, to not be available. You are off the clock. That's an easy boundary that schools can help support. So boundaries is one thing, being able to say no, not taking on everything. Other signs of progress would be a deeper sense of gratitude. Most people will tell me after they get through some kind of hard, challenging experience, they'll find the gratitude in it. Like, oh my gosh, thank God that happened because now I'm doing this instead. Or I'm glad that relationship blew up because that was devastating, but now I'm with my partner who is the love of my life. Going through burnout and what we're all facing in our own way in different levels, to be able to say, I got through that. I'm more resilient as a result. I've survived things I never thought I could. I thought I would like blow away in the wind if some of these things ever happened, but here I still am. So that's resilience. And when we start to notice, wow, I'm not there anymore. I'm seeing the beauty again. I'm seeing the vibrant colors. It's not all muted anymore.
Yeah.
Those are all great signs that we're on the right track.
Yeah.
And we're more connected to ourselves and to other people.
Wow. That's so special that you'd be able to be in that position. That's really awesome.
Thanks, Will. Yeah, I think so too.
That's awesome. Kim, I have loved having this conversation.
Well, thank you for having me, you guys.
I'm going to be
Love
honest.
being
I was
here.
a little worried when we were like, "Hey, we're going to do this." I was like, I really don't want to be really heavy, but I feel like we've really been able to explore a lot of different aspects of burnout and give some definitions and some identifiers as well as like things. And so I thank you for coming and talking. Well, I'm glad you were here.
Thanks. Me too, honestly. I really love being a part of these episodes. I mean, I know I do a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, but there's really nothing is the same as being a part of it and being engaged in what we're talking about. So I really find a lot of value in it.
Well, thank you, Will. And thanks for giving me an opportunity to talk about this stuff because I think it's important.
Of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Kim.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
It was good. We want to thank everyone who is listening or watching this podcast. We hope that if you are experiencing burnout or stressors, maybe you started to identify some stuff that something in this episode sparked something in you to keep going, but also take some time and maybe some of those microdoses or some of those other strategies and things to help alleviate some of that stress. Before we let you guys go, I just want to remind you that stress, it's a response. It's a human response. It means that you're normal. It means that your body's just overwhelmed and it's trying to get you to slow down and so that you can do the things that you need to do and the things that you want to do. So it's normal. That's one of the big things I want everyone to walk away with.
And you're not alone either.
Yes.
You're not alone. Please open up. Please share those things with others around you in your school, with your family, with your spouse. You're not the only one going through this. You're absolutely not.
Yeah. So thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.
See ya.